Spite.
Okay, we're on the air.
We're on the air. Hey, it's Suzilla.
It's
Hi, Matt. And Susie.
Susie.
Yay, team. Go team. We are Suzilla. We are Wenatchee Insurance. We are a million different things, but we are your insurance brokers in Wenatchee, Washington, among other things.
So yeah, today we were gonna talk about the uniformness, uniqueness, and you. And
it's a lot of yes sounds.
It's a yeah. And I was thinking about it because of, well, I had to go to the coast to Olympia.
Yep.
And one of the things I go over there is it's a guilty pleasure.
Uh-huh.
Is there's a radio station I listen to.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you've ever paid attention to that.
No, probably not.
It is an alternative rock station.
Uh-huh. And
the joke back in the day was, hey, what happens when everyone listens to alternative music?
It's not alternative anymore, is it?
Exactly. It becomes uniform.
Well, I don't know if uniform is the right word.
Yeah, it really does, because everyone's doing it. And the minute someone chooses the alternative, they're unique.
Okay. I'm not sure uniform is the right word there, though.
Everyone's doing the same. It's uniform.
Okay.
It's the danger with that level is, if someone's forcing conformity,
right?
That's the only station we listen to.
Yeah.
Or if it becomes a tool to ostracize.
If you don't listen to this, you're bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because originally the uniformity, what you see on the battlefield, is a quick way to identify friend or foe.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the whole idea behind, shirts and skins.
Yeah, shirts and skins. When we went down, and you'll see it used today in Ukraine, you'll mark vehicles.
Yeah.
With big, broad, you can see them from miles away symbols.
Yeah. I mean, that's how teams work.
Yeah.
Your football teams. That's why football teams have colors that don't look the same, so they can be identified by the viewers.
Yes.
And the people involved in it.
However, we can't strip away the humanity. And there is a population that is really scared of diversity because of the fact it leads to humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's got to be the same. You got to fit in these little pigeonholes, and heaven forbid you break out of it. But I mean, that's fine where you're dealing in uniformity is fine when you're dealing in a team sport or other situations. But when you're dealing with humanity, uniqueness is important.
Yeah, you can't have everyone eating a happy meal.
No, not everybody can eat a happy meal. Some people are lactose intolerant. Some people are allergic to peanuts. I don't think. Sorry, never mind that. But
well,
you get my drift.
No, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
There are some people that are allergic to peanuts, and some people want to force that conformity onto others.
Mm-hmm.
Would be like, hey, peanut allergy person,
here's your death sentence.
You must eat pad thai.
Here's your death sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people who want to force conformity don't care if you're different from them. They do want you dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a really great example, a great horrible example.
Yeah.
Of that uniformity being pushed. We've seen that, and a couple of years ago when we were doing the swap meet.
Uh-huh.
And when you cleared the tables, and I was the one left there in my T-shirt, my bearded face, I had people wander up to me and tell me horrible things.
It's true, because you were wearing the super conservative, uniform.
Yeah, it was the super, and people felt safe, and it was usually this is one of the, it wasn't another bearded guy.
Huh. I did not. That was not something I knew.
That's something I talked about. It was older men,
uh-huh.
older, like 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
It was women,
Okay.
and and of course they have the white skin, but that was the ones that felt the need to inject this horribleness. And usually it started with, "I'm not a racist, but,"
Yeah.
and I hear these horrible, horrible things. And like I said, it wasn't someone that had the primary attributes. They were having to come in and say, "Okay, here, I'm one with you. Here's the secondary. Here's my uniqueness of why I fit in, why I can do, why I'm going to say these horrible, horrible things in order to fit in with my perceived view of where you're at."
I don't know what to say about that, babe.
It's one of those weird, weird things that is why I really look to that dialogue on, when I'm talking with people, of what makes them unique.
Yeah.
Whether they're trying to, force themselves into a group.
Uh-huh.
We used to call, what's the most dangerous person in the army? That'd be a buck corporal, because they're not a sergeant.
Yeah.
And they're shooting for that NCO status, so they're mean as can be.
Huh.
And they do that with that conversation, that injection, that abusiveness.
Okay.
And we see that time and time again on the human scale, of where you get these go-getters, these grinders. Oh, hey, it's all about the hustle.
Okay.
Is it really about the hustle? Or is it about your perception of fitting into the hustle?
Okay. I can see where you're going with that.
It's one of those really, why I watch people on how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I can put on a suit and a little flag lapel pin and then watch what I do.
Uh-huh.
Am I quiet, or am I leading the charge?
Well, if you're going to do that disguise, because that is a disguise for you, you're going to be quiet. Knowing you're going to be quiet, you're going to be observing, and you're going to let people speak their actual minds around you, feeling comfortable that they can be honest around you,
Mm-hmm.
that you would not betray them. So you will be able to actually get their real brains versus their, well, I got to be careful. This guy is going to think I'm PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
that's you using your powers for good.
use your powers for good. It's why Walter Matheson in The Good Liars amuses the heck out of me to no end.
Yeah.
Because he will put on mega gear and amp it up to see on on how people respond around him.
Yeah.
It's a really good look at what drives people.
Uh-huh.
And you can see that in other different dynamics.
Yeah.
One of those famous, and we're going to see this in people wandering around looking on what's safe now.
Yes, absolutely, because everything's changed. This last election changed the dynamic of what's safe and what's not.
Well, it's not what's safe. It's the folks who kind of lean back. Oh yeah, I'm an ally, and then trumped up.
Yeah.
And it's really important. I've had a number of my LGBTQ friends that mentioned exactly that.
George mentioned that this morning.
And there's a really good rule for allies.
Mm-hmm.
An ally is someone close enough to be hit by the rocks.
So why do you suppose these people who had, so the folks who had over the last few years have been
Mm-hmm.
touting allyship,
Mm-hmm.
are they just so, okay, here's the thought. I knew somebody that was basically in some ways a social chameleon. They had no personality of their own. They always took on the personality of the person they were dating.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a similar situation?
Yeah, they're playing with uniform.
They're just trying to hide.
They can't get to you. They can't. You might see glimpses of uniqueness, but you'll never get to the real you.
You'll never see their real personality.
Yeah, unless they go through a bunch of trauma.
Yeah, or therapy. Therapy can help too.
Therapy is trauma.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Therapy can be pretty. Therapy is intentionally traumatic.
Yeah,
but it's controlled trauma.
It's a controlled trauma.
Yeah,
for as much as you can take it, and it's one of those things that not everyone can afford to get therapy.
No, that's true.
In time or money.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Or, in some cases, good friendship.
Yeah.
My dad famously said, it's like, hey, if you got someone that you can really talk to, you're solving half your problems right there.
That's what you said for that. Otherwise, you're kind of just repressing and holding onto it and giving yourself ulcers.
Yeah, because you've got to get to that you to work through things.
Yep. Okay, so the allyship thing is very frustrating for me. Okay. Because I think what's happening is it's going to be, I don't know, it's very frustrating because I hate to see people who I thought were good folks taking a weird turn that I didn't expect. And it's like, okay, how can I be your friend if you're going to support, such a horrible attitude towards the world, and I hate that because I feel like it's going to be really hard on folks. It's going to be hard on me, and I hate being surprised by negatives. I hate negative surprises.
I actually kind of, look at it, so some of the heel turns.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's what you got going on.
And these are folks that wouldn't complain living downwind from the camps.
Yeah, that's a horrible visual.
But it's true. If you look at it, it's like they will excuse away the worst behavior.
Okay, I've had a thought.
Okay.
This is fear. These are people hunkering down because they're afraid they're going to be targeted. Mm. And they will be. If you take the rock,
yeah,
your target.
Yeah.
If you put on the uniform and pretend, you might last a little longer. This is really hard.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's a real situation that we're in. I got to live. When we had in East and West Germany, and see that up close.
Yeah.
I got to see some of the worst possible behavior in humanity up close. Yeah. And what we're going through now.
Precursors to it. It's all precursors to it.
It's all precursors to it. Our son and I had a great conversation yesterday about, the billionaires cozying up during the inauguration.
Yeah.
And it inevitably led to why they were there.
Uh-huh.
And it's largely fear-based.
Yeah.
The reason why, $1 million to them was nothing.
No, nothing.
It really isn't, because
these are people who $1 million is what they spend on their cheese.
Yeah, it's like us, pulling $1 out of the couch to. It's really an insignificant number. However, it's fear-based. They leaned into this administration in order to try to keep where they're at longer.
Okay.
And because we're in a state of, my son, I hate the term end stage capitalism. I hate that one because it implies that there's only one path of capitalism, and that's bad. And it was coined largely by Marxists.
Okay.
That's why I don't use it. I'm like, look, no, there's more different forms of capitalism. That's why there's this, social democrats.
There you go.
That's why I tend not to use that, because I do believe that capitalism can provide solid gains for humanity.
Right.
And at the same time, it's got to take into the account of, hey, what's good for the community. You just can't strip mine a community and say, oh, it's capitalism, it's all good, and destroy the environment. It's like, no, well, what's good for the community? It's like, oh, we mine in a sensible manner. And that's where it leads. And I'm like, look, they are grasping at that income inequality for as long as they can.
Yep.
It's why you've seen, one of the early it's like, okay, let's strip out all the uniqueness, because the uniqueness leads to creativity. Creativity leads to wealth.
That's the TikTok theory. That's why that's the whole TikTok thing.
Yeah.
Oh. And if you're getting wealth, that means I'm not getting wealth, because people can't seem to get around in the heads that there's enough to go around.
Well, it's not just enough to get
no, but
they're threatened because they think, okay, the pie is only so big.
Yeah.
And if someone else is getting wealthy, they're taking it from me.
Yes, that is their theory.
And it takes more energy for me to be creative to keep growing.
Yeah.
So they've said, okay, you know what? Hey, this team here is going to strip all the creativity out.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to require me to pay less taxes, because I'm part of the upper 5% that make more than $260,000 a year.
So I'll pay less. I will contribute less to the general fund.
And my immediate family is taken care of, and I am feeling safe.
Yeah.
So that was really, it's like, okay, the problem with that,
mm-hmm.
and this is a huge problem, is you've got this forced income inequality.
Uh-huh.
What happens when that snaps?
Because it will. That's a war. It's a freaking civil war.
And we saw that with the United Healthcare CEO.
Yeah. That's why he's dead. They also replaced him in a heartbeat and haven't heard squat about it since then.
Oh, no, they replaced it with a horrible individual who said, yeah, it's going to be business as usual.
Okay, they replaced a horrible individual with another horrible individual. They didn't change anything.
It's because they're uniform.
Right. They didn't change the way they do their business. They didn't look at it as a warning as to what should happen. It's like, oh, no, okay, he's dead. Let's get another one in there who would just get a carbon copy of him.
Mm-hmm.
Replacing a horrible individual with another horrible individual, and they moved along business as usual. That assassination didn't change anything. But that also means that can also empower the next person.
Oh, yeah.
And no, I'm not advocating assassinations. Let's be clear on that.
No, vigilantism is horrible.
Yeah.
However, if there's no movement with justice, that's what starts to get created, is those vigilantisms.
Yeah.
If there's no income movement, no social class climbing, you start to see some radical thing. It's why you saw drug dealers in the 90s. Is people making those financial moves because they saw no other opportunity.
So what we're going to see is a resurgence of, the guy who founded the Silk Road, basically one of the ugliest dark web trading posts out there, got pardoned.
Oh, yeah.
and he's out running around again.
Yeah, he got pardoned day one.
Yep. And so that's empowering. Doesn't that empower the folks who are doing dirty business to make money?
Okay.
Because that's because if you go back to the drug dealers, it's like, okay, this is, you look at what's his face from Mexico, and
let's peel it back 2 days before he got released.
Okay.
Mr. Silk Road. What happened?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Oh, that's easy. Trump and then Melania released their own bitcoins.
Oh, there you go. They're going to use him. They're using him.
Well, you sometimes you need talent. Yeah. Sometimes you need talent that needs you.
And owes you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's why as soon as I saw him, I was like, yeah, this is a heist movie. As soon as you see, it's like, okay, yeah, they're assembling their heist team. Cool.
How do we get through this? How do we get through this? How do we get through what we are on the verge of in this country? We're on the verge of a 1939 Germany.
I don't know if it's Germany because we're pretty far removed. We'll be more like the woods in Poland.
Okay. So how are we gonna how do we not do that? How do we not have a war? How do we not invade Canada? How do we not decide we want to take back Panama? How do we not it's like, oh, hey, let's go get Greenland. How do we not do that as a country? Because right now, from a political standpoint, we're landlocked. There is no checks and balances going on in our government right now. How do we, as humans, not have a world war start if we don't have checks and balances from a political standpoint?
Some of it is the leaders that we've got left have to drag their feet, and they have to object every single inch. And the reason why you object every single inch and not, oh, well, I'm going to wait until, the big things. You can't wait until the big things. Yeah. Because
the small things build up.
Well, it's not just the small things. The small things erode the situation until you've got nothing left. It's the realization that, oh, well, hey, the LGBTQ, yeah. Oh, first let's get rid of the trans, then the LGBTQ, and then interracial marriage, and then the handicapped. Eventually, you go down the list, and you're going to hit one of the categories you fit in. Are you poor? Okay. How's that health care? Mm-hmm. How's the price of eggs? What have they done for the price of eggs? Mm-hmm. They haven't made the trains run on time.
No.
And the people that have said, hey, I'm voting for him so that the trains run on time are not holding him to that simple standard of, hey, you promised me this. Mm-hmm. And that's really important to look at and remind people. It's like, hey, if that's cool. If you voted for him for the trains to run on time, for your 30 pieces of silver, then by God, you better get your 30 pieces of silver and the trains better run on time. If not, the people that you've sold out, you sold them out for nothing. You sold yourself out for nothing. And that's the kind of the important thing to look at. It's like, okay, how are you holding yourself accountable? And like I said, a lot of it's going to be fear-based, and the ones that you're going to look for, who's unique, who is unique, and how are they unique? It's not, hey, these are the alternatives. It's like, no, you want to look who's unique in the center of the conformity. And it's really important for that to find that quickly find it now, because that's going to shift, and it's going to shift quickly. And yeah, it's one of those scary, scary moments in time. However, yes, I can simply put on my Carhartts, put on a red ball cap and my plaid shirt, and I can blend into the crowd.
Yep, you absolutely can. But we've got people we love who can't, and we gotta protect them.
And yeah, and that's really what it boils down to, is like, yeah, there's going to be some times when I'm going to put on something that everyone's like, what are you doing? And the people who know me are like, oh yeah, that's what he's 35. I was almost 40 before someone threw me a veteran's baseball cap with the egg salad on it.
Yeah, he was an idiot anyway.
Yes, however, he meant well.
He did mean well.
And that's what I always looked at. It's like, what's their intent? Do they mean well? There's a certain level of, okay, kid, you mean well, but I guess eventually you got to back it up, because you don't want to walk down that dark path. And that's where we're at. It's like, okay, how far do your well wishes are actual well wishes, or how far of it is being fear driven?
Yeah. Yay, thoughts and prayers.
Well, it's important, and it's one of those ones. It's we have the talk of defense. My kid said, "Hey, you're going to teach me how to shoot." And it's like, and I told us, like, look, it's going to happen, and it's easier than you think. It's too easy. It's the aftermath that's hard.
Yeah.
It's the aftermath of either cleaning the game, or finding out where that bullet went, or dealing with your emotions because you killed a human being.
Yep.
It's not, everyone's like, oh, guns are, it's like, no. Like,
it's not the firing of the weapon. It's what happens once you fire it.
It's the cleanup. And that's really important. It's like, we are in the build-up stage right now. And yeah, some of us are recognized, it's a build-up stage.
Yep.
And yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be because people's lives are on the line.
Yeah.
Famously, we're looking at, like, drug prices getting a whole lot expensive for a lot of people.
Yep. Everything that has been done in the last 4 years to reduce the cost of medications, to make Medicare better, to make health insurance more usable and affordable, those are all in tremendous danger.
Well, some of them have been
stripped already.
Yeah. And I had just one person during the enrollment period say, "Oh, that's not going to happen."
You only had one?
I only had one. Huh. Because I looked everyone in the eye and said, "This is what's going to happen." Actually, I asked them first. It's like, "Do you want to know what's going to happen?" And there were a few people that said no, because they knew that I had seen stuff close up that they couldn't imagine. Yeah. That I watched and looked at policies all along the way. I looked at the proposals. Yeah. So yeah, I'm one of those ones that's like, yeah, okay, this is the path. Okay, cool.
I told someone yesterday, I said, listen, it's gonna get difficult. They're gonna make this hard. Well, how come it's so hard for people? It's because they want you dead.
Yeah.
And I told them straight up, it's because they want you dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of got that look on their faces, like, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's why compassion and empathy are so darn important in your leadership.
And right now, our leadership doesn't have that. Our federal leadership does not have compassion. Period.
So yeah. So hey, it's one of those ones.
It was a dark one.
It was a dark one. Find the people that are close to you and start figuring out where they are
And keep them safe.
and keep them safe. You won't hear certain conversations online.
No. I had to shut Matt down the other day on the phone. It's like, no, we're not having this conversation over the phone.
Yeah, and there are certain things that are only done in person.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot more of that. A lot more of that.
Yeah.
In the days to come.
Yeah. And
so hey,
hopefully we'll be safe. Hopefully we'll have Pete. We'll continue to have peace, but we'll.
Hey, until next week, have a good